moms. So today I'm going to go one step further from last week's episode on how to regulate yourself, how to bring an inner calm by sharing how you can bring calm to one another as a couple. Really important. And look, this can be a roadmap, not just of how you give it to each other, but also for you to know what to ask your partner to do, what you need, because sometimes we don't even know what's going on to help calm us down. Like our partners might ask us like, hey, what do you need right now? And we don't even know because we're like discombobulated or flooded or whatever. So I want to offer a clear map here today. And as always here, I know like maybe it's getting old hearing me say this, but I'm all about the stance that you are not supposed to be figuring everything out on your own. You're not supposed to feel like you're on your own in all of this, in navigating parenthood and your partnership. And your partner shouldn't feel that way either. And so when things get overwhelming, when you notice getting reactive, when you're dysregulated, how can you help each other, give each other a lifeline when things get hard? You know, all over like social media and even therapeutic books and things, there's so much discussion around how to regulate our kids, which is super important, of course. But what's missing is like, what about us as adults? We still need help. You know, it's not like you grow into an adult. Most of us didn't learn these skills as kids anyway in our generation, right? And how do we help each other? Even as adults, we are not designated to regulate alone. Our nervous system is meant to be interdependent with other nervous systems like relational. And the kind of emotional balance that we can maintain in our couple relationship, it's a two-way street. It's a two-person, like biological process. It's not an individual skill only. I'm not saying that, you know, there isn't a responsibility as individuals to notice our triggers, to try to be accountable for our behavior generally. But why wouldn't we help each other when we can? Why would we watch someone drowning and just say like, all right, figure that out? We wouldn't. So we need to find ways where we can help each other and get that help. Also, I'm sure you've experienced this. Like if you're distressed, there's like a contagion on a spouse, and same like vice versa. If our spouse is like super distressed or anxious or dysregulated, it's going to affect us. Okay. Now, again, it's normal to get dysregulated sometimes, but when it's happening, why not help each other, right? It impacts us. We impact each other. It's like a right brain to right brain kind of contagion going on there. Why not be there? Why not throw a lifeline? So how can you be there when one of you is dysregulated and flooded, overwhelmed, to get back in the green zone in a regulated, calmer state? Okay. Like I said in last week's episode, getting regulated, it's not just about you. It's about being available for each other. If we're easily or consistently flooding without being able to recover, how can we really listen to each other? And how can we share honestly with one another? So again, like always, this is good for you guys as individuals, and it's good for each other. And actually, it's also good for your kids, right? The earlier you start doing this for each other, it's wonderful modeling for your children. And even if you have a baby or young child who can't understand it or be able to articulate it, they are still affected by you guys being able to regulate, be there for each other. And it creates a calmer climate in the home. Remember, don't worry. I'm not talking about being constantly regulated. That's not possible. It's really not. And it's not human. And that's okay. It's just, can we recover faster? Can we help each other recover faster? Can we notice what's happening and tune in? Yeah. So I want to get into what co-regulation is and what it is definitely not. Okay. It is simply helping your spouse's nervous system or your partner's nervous system go back into a safe zone, a calm zone, lending your regulation when theirs is overwhelmed. I like to say, I like the image of like a calm to their storm. When they are having a storm, we can be their calm. Okay. And staying very present, assuring that you are present. It's not fixing or like trying to nip something in the bud. It's not problem solving. And you don't have to agree. If you guys are in the middle of a disagreement or something's going on and you don't agree with how your spouse is seeing something, just because you are helping them regulate doesn't mean you're agreeing with them. Don't worry about that and don't get lost in the weeds over that. It's just, hey, you're struggling. I want to be right here with you. Okay. Sometimes it's hard for us to not go into fixing or problem solving because we might have our own anxiety about them suffering or struggling in front of us, and we really want to rescue them from it. But it's counterintuitive because trying to fix often does not help. That doesn't help someone feel like you were really present. Problem solving can come after regulation if they want you to participate in that. and kind of get on the same page. Okay. So basically, regulation is going to flow from the person who is more regulated to the less regulated one. And I'll get into it a little bit later about when you guys are both dysregulated in a little bit. But I just want to start here when one of you has the capacity to help the other. And essentially, for the person who is dysregulated, flooded, overwhelmed, like they want to know, even if they can't articulate it, everybody wants to know, is it okay for me to be messy in your presence? Can I feel safe and comfortable even though I feel like I'm losing control or I'm out of sorts? And will I still be loved and accepted, not judged, not rejected? And that's kind of the underlying fear, even if we're not aware of it. Okay. That's the need in that moment and need of reassurance. So I want to give a very clear roadmap for how to do this for your partner and what to ask for your partner to do with you. Okay. Again, this is a great episode for you guys to listen to together or replay later together. So first of all, before it even happens, it's good to be aware of, hey, what are signs that my partner is like really getting out of sorts, really getting dysregulated? Do they start pacing and wringing their hands? Do I notice them sweating, getting balmy? Do they start like getting super, super fidgety? Does their face get red and hot? There could be so many things, okay? Everyone has their own way of kind of expressing dysregulation. So starting to notice what that is, even asking your spouse, hey, what do you notice when you're getting really overwhelmed? What can I pay attention to? What can be some signs so I know? Because being able to pick up on those signs or ask your spouse to share them with you, it'll get you in a better position to catch it a little bit sooner, and it'll help you with the awareness of just tuning in. Okay. And it's okay too. You don't always have to catch it super early. Whenever you do realize what's going on, you can still, be present and help co-regulate. Okay. If you want to start a podcast or grow your existing one, Juliana Barbati and her team have you covered. They handle the entire process from building episode funnels to production and marketing, so you can focus on reaching your audience. Visit julianabarbati.com and let them know I sent you. So first of all, I want to start with your voice. When you notice that your partner is like losing it in some way, and that's not like a nice mental health term, but I'm just trying to be playful. But when we either are like, when we see our spouse in either a major shutdown, like starting to lash out or get snippy or whatever it is, your voice can be very powerful. So imagine if you're hearing someone speak really fast like this and have a tone of voice like this and it's kind of sharp, right? What do you notice in your body when you hear my voice like that? Just experience that. Yeah, what's going on with you? You seem kind of edgy, right? Like, what's up? That's not nice to listen to, right? That's not going to calm you. Okay. So let me give an example of the alternative. When we slow our pace down, we lower our tone of voice. We lower the volume of our voice. It's softer. It's warmer. Hey, I'm noticing you seem really upset right now. Okay. Do you notice how much different you feel even listening to my voice in this way than how my voice was before? Okay, this is going to directly calm the nervous system. Okay, your eyes and your face. Are your eyes soft? Are you doing something repetitive like nodding? Are your facial expressions like hard and harsh, or are they soft? Are they responsive? What are you actually saying? I'm here with you. Okay, the facial expressions will say it non-verbally. I'm right here. What's your body doing? Okay, imagine a body kind of turned sideways or turned away. If you're turned towards, really like your body and your posture is really turned, leaning into your partner, that shows a lot of engagement and commitment to be engaged, to be grounded. If your spouse wants, you can ask like, hey, is it okay if I hold your hand or rub your, leg here or something, and see if that's okay. And then the language, I'm right here. We can slow this down. You're not alone in this. I'm right here with you. We will deal with this together. It is incredibly soothing. I'm going to ask you, I want to belabor this a bit. This is really important. Imagine a time, really right now, imagine a time that you were very, very stressed, really overwhelmed. Okay. Now imagine someone saying to you with their full rapt attention, calmly, we are in this together. You are not alone. I'm right here. I'm right here with you. I'm listening. Okay. We can slow this down. I'm right here. Okay. Do you notice what happens in your body, right? just listening. Can you imagine being in that state and hearing that kind of presence, that kind of commitment? It's very powerful. Now, all of this sounds very simple. You can share a list like this and it's like, oh yeah, okay. But the thing is, yeah, it's simple, but people don't do it. And the skill here, I think the growth area here is not knowing what the list of things to do is, which, I mean, that's a part of it, like not knowing, but it's also how do we have the capacity? How do we create patterns where, we don't just go into freak out when our partner's freaking out, or we don't just go defensive when our partner's struggling, and we can say, oh, okay, they really need me right now. Catching what's happening, the awareness of what's happening, seeing the opportunity for closeness, for, offering help, building that kind of trust is really more the exercise than this. Because I know you guys can all listen to these things and clock that pretty easily, but it's more, how can this become a pattern? Okay. Also, look, another thing I want to add is this shouldn't be like you're an actor playing a role. It shouldn't feel so false. I remember I was looking up a book, I think by Dan Siegel or by, I don't know, someone else. And it was about helping regulate kids. And someone left a review of the book saying, this just sounds fake and false. And if I said this stuff to my kid, it would just sound so plasticky and like I'm just playing a role, and it doesn't sound earnest or genuine. And I'm thinking about that now because this is important with each other too. Yes, you can learn these techniques, but please don't just try to go through the motions in some kind of false way. This can be in your language. Are there certain things that you guys say to each other, certain words that are more natural to you that basically convey the same thing? Okay. But it should feel earnest on some level. I know that when we do something for the first few times, it can feel wonky, but if you are connecting with genuine compassion, it will be organic and it will be genuine, and that will come through. So I'm certainly not saying hey, say these words, do these things as if you're some puppet, but rather that it becomes an organic, earnest wish to be present with your partner, to help them, to give them a lifeline. Okay. And to let them borrow your regulation. So I want to get into briefly what can block co-regulation. Now, we have to be realistic. I know everyone has experienced this. Sometimes one person's anxiety is too high and so is the other's. Or when one person, maybe they're deregulated because they're upset with you or you're upset with them. And so it's we're really going to help each other co-regulate. We're mad at each other. And it's easy to go into a place of defensiveness or withdrawal, rationalizing away, trying to just fix something and make it go away. So you guys are not going to be able to regulate each other while you're trying to protect yourselves, or you're reacting in your own anxiety, even if it doesn't look as strong as your spouse. It's still deregulation. It just might be a little less. Okay. And, these kind of anxiety spikes are normal. Defensiveness, this happens when it's really hard to sit with whatever feelings we're having, maybe towards our spouse too. So the thing is, this kind of co-regulation, when it's hard, I think there are some moments where it can be easy for you guys, right? Where one of you really is feeling calmer than the other, has not gotten as upset as the other. But it does, when it's hard, when there's more conflict going on, or when it has to do with you guys as a couple or something you're dealing with, sometimes that's going to have to mean, well, we need to take a break. We don't actually want to talk to each other when we are in this state. It's not going to go well, and it's not going to be helpful to us, and we care about each other. And so it's okay for us to be upset and, but we commit to coming back to this conversation. And someone might want to take a walk, or I don't know, have some time to sit and breathe and and sometimes that might mean you need some moments to calm. And sometimes it might mean you need half a day or a day, depending on what's going on. But remember, even just noticing that you guys are both pretty flooded and feeling off kilter, you can still extend an olive branch in those moments with each other and say, hey, we're both struggling. It's okay. We'll come back to this, and have that commitment. Now, that is tricky when there isn't as much of a foundation of trust, or that foundation of trust has really gotten rocked by whatever you guys are dealing with. It's harder to give that grace to one another, to see it as a we issue rather than you're doing this, you're on opposite sides. And I know it's not that simple for many people and in many situations. So I don't want to make this simplistic and say, well, just do this. If you just choose to do this, it's, it takes time to build that capacity, to build that familiarity, to build that foundation of trust, to say, hey, this is a we issue. We will come back to this. We're on the same side, even though it feels really hard right now. And I understand that. And actually, that's why that's often what I help with as a therapist or in my coaching offers, because couples really need to be able to navigate disappointment with each other, their anger with each other. That's normal, but to still feel united through it or to come back united. I hope that getting a roadmap here for how to be present for one another, how to notice, how to help each other go from danger zone, flooded zone to a calmer place is helpful. And I hope it helps you guys connect. Please do listen to this again with your spouse, and you guys can talk about how you want to approach this together. This can be really a roadmap of what you want to ask for, a roadmap of a way for you guys to start this conversation, of starting to notice in one another when you need, because adjusting to parenthood, parenting babies and young children is hard. It's very consuming, and you guys deserve to, support each other. Okay. And practicing this kind of co-regulation is an act of love. I really like to say this. These kind of efforts are acts of love. It's going to give you guys a chance to not only give comfort to each other in real time in those moments, but, the more moments you have like that over time, it's really going to heal and nurture your connection more and more over days, weeks, months, and years. So every time you notice, right, being noticed feels very loving because you know that you're cared about, right? Being taken seriously, that your pain is taken seriously, that your struggle is taken seriously, giving unwavering presence, sharing vulnerably, right? You are literally rewiring your brain and your partner's brain and your relationship. And that's beautiful. Okay. Subscribe to my podcast here. I have exciting resources to share weekly, and especially in the next episode, I have some exciting things to share. I'm here for you and your family. Goodbye.